Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I just want to first say that I'm so happy and I feel so blessed that people have been watching my videos. Everything I say in these videos is 100% real, honest. I have no reason to make these stories up. And my intent is always to tell my story to help other people. And it is actually very therapeutic for me to talk to someone about a lot of these things because I don't think we're, as a society, really quite there yet when it comes to just accepting people where they're at and not judging. I have a few different topics today that are sort of Mandela-y slash slip in the matrix topics, and these seem to be watched more than other videos I've made, and I'm so sporadic in making videos that I understand why my channel is really not growing as fast as some, and I don't even know if that's my intention necessarily. My intention is more just to talk about my life experiences, kind of sort through them and discuss things that aren't usually talked about generally, and how I feel about things, and just let people know they're not alone if things like this have happened to them or they've had strange occurrences, as well as the Mandela effect being really real. It's not just some conspiracy theory. There's something to that. I kind of want to just kind of validate that for people and for myself. So I was discussing the other day the concept of deja vu with a coworker, and I've had deja vu my entire life. Sometimes in my life I have it a lot more often than other times. And sometimes while I'm having the deja vu, I feel like it's like a dream-like state I'm in for just a few seconds, that I'm not really fully conscious, like awake at that moment when I'm looking and seeing this deja vu thing happen. And the other day I was at work and I had deja vu so strong about 3 or 4 times. And this one particular time, someone was standing up at the nursing station talking to another person. And when I looked up, like I looked at the scene, and it was like I knew exactly what the person was going to say to the other person. And the scene was exactly like I thought I'd seen it before. And I had talked to this friend at work about this, and basically I had said that I feel like maybe deja vu isn't that I'm seeing something I've already seen before in real life, or that it's from another dimension and they're all coming together, like one theory states, but I think it's I've dreamed these scenarios before in my mind, and they're in my subconscious because I've dreamed it and I've seen it in my mind before. And part of being a psychic medium too, you have a lot of dreams that do come true later, and maybe that means that I saw it in a dream, I remembered it when I see it, because I've dreamed it before. And he said that he thinks I'm just working too many nights and I'm tired and I think I'm having deja vu, which, okay, I get that. And I think it's valid to say things like that. When you work nights, you are super tired. When you are having lack of sleep or working a lot of nights in a row, your mind does play tricks on you. And I do understand that. And that is valid. And I know there's been times when I do have like little lapses in memory, or just I'm not as sharp as I could be because I'm tired. So I totally see that. I totally understand that. But I kind of want to know what people's experiences of deja vu have been, and if it's like mine, because it seems like for that second I have the deja vu, it's a really valid memory that's pulled out. And I don't know if it's from a dream I've had or a psychic vision I've had before that I forgot about, or it's in my subconscious. Also, I had a friend I used to work with when I did case management for an insurance company, and we were talking about deja vu one time. And I think she brought it up, and she said she feels when you have deja vu, that it's validating that you're on the right path that you're supposed to be on, that was already set out in front of you, and that maybe somehow you already know the path you're supposed to be on. And it's one of those little signs that shows that, hey, this is a clue that you were supposed to see this, so you would know that you're on the path you're supposed to be on, which I really thought was an awesome way to put things, and I really liked that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is another Mandela effect. I actually have not seen this Mandela effect on any videos yet, and I don't know if I'm going to start off on this, but there was an Olympic athlete named Greg Louganis, and he was for the USA team for diving. And I hate to say, I really don't remember the years, but I want to say it was the 80s, like the late 80s into the early 90s. And he was excellent. He was in beautiful shape. He was very handsome. When the Olympics are on, I'm all about it. And I really am kind of patriotic about the American teams. And, if you've not heard of him, look him up. He was doing this dive, and he smacked his head and his neck on the diving board. And my memory, and I'm not trying to be gross, I remember there being blood in the pool when he landed in the pool from the accident. And I remember him being paralyzed. And I know there was a made-for-TV movie that came out at some point, and the actor playing him was Mario Lopez. And I remember, I didn't see the whole movie, but I think one of the commercials showed him like in a wheelchair, and he was in despair because of this accident. And I thought that the outcome was that he was always going to be paralyzed and not able to walk again because, he'd broken his neck. And I don't think my mind would just like not remember that correctly, or it would go to this bad place. But I was watching a series on YouTube the other day, probably like a week ago, and it tells it's called Timeline, and it tells about different years of the 1980s, what happened that year, and it goes into the 90s now, and basically he's fine. He had to do some physical therapy and recover from the injury, but he's fine. He's walking around. He's athletic. I was in shock when I saw this video. I was like, what? How would I remember that so clearly, that he was really, really, really injured from this? Like literally could never walk again was what I remember. And not that I followed his story really closely or anything like that, but it was really big news because he was in the Olympics. So if anyone else remembers that, I would feel good. But I'm thankful that he's really okay, though. I don't wish that he would be injured. I was just shocked by that when I saw that video. And the last thing is a slip in the matrix story. I think I have more of these than I have Mandela effects in my life. And it's hard to describe this story because people that I've told this story to before just think I'm just exaggerating or just misplaced an item, which you can do. Doesn't mean there's a slip in the matrix. But I didn't. So basically, there was this guy that we always liked each other, but we never dated. And I want to say at this point, I was maybe 16 or 17. I'm going to say maybe 17. I'm not quite sure. But around that age, he wanted to take me on a drive to this spooky place near where we grew up. And he knew I'd been there before. And there was this legend that if you cross this bridge, your car will shut off. And it's like a whole thing. And I won't get into that because it's not that relevant to the story. But so I remember I had this white sweater, like a cardigan sweater over what I was wearing. And when we got there, I had tied it around my waist, and we were just walking around this bridge and talking. And when we left, my sweater wasn't around my waist, and I was like, uh-oh, did I leave my sweater? And he we weren't really far away. We went back and we looked around, and it wasn't nowhere to be found. And I didn't feel it come off of me. I didn't like take it off of me and like put it down anywhere. I didn't leave it in the truck. I distinctly remember having it with me, but then when I got in the truck, it wasn't there. And he looked for it, and he wouldn't have taken it or anything weird like that. And we kind of searched in his truck, and we looked everywhere, and that sweater was gone. And I just don't know, like, how 1 minute you have a sweater tied around your waist, and then the next minute it's gone. And he told me, like, he didn't even notice what I was wearing, which I totally believe. Like, he wasn't probably, like, paying attention to, like, the sweater. But he promised me that if, like, he found it in his truck or, like, whatever, he, like, passed by there again or whatever, he'd look for it. And, like, it was gone after that. So I don't know if I can call it a slip in the matrix totally. It could have been just somehow I lost it, and I don't know how, and we just couldn't find it, or that place was haunted like we thought, and some other force was messing with us. But it is kind of creepy still to think about all those years ago that, back then there wasn't like cell phones or like anyone to like have a camera like near the bridge we were hanging around. It was like in the middle of nowhere. So no one would have seen anything or known we were there, or there was no pictures or videos and all that jazz. So there's like no proof of anything, but I know it sounds like a little thing. It was just a silly sweater, but it always did bother me. Like I felt like something else was going on. Like, how you go somewhere and yes, you hear it's haunted, so you feel kind of creepy, but I did feel like creepy being there. And I wondered if there was something there, like something we don't know about or can't see that was happening. Or, how could it go away? I don't know, but the sweater's still gone. And I'm 40 now, so it's a long time. And me and that guy never really talked about it after that, and we remained friends for a few years, but of course lost touch, and it was rather strange, and I just thought I'd bring that up because it sort of has to do with the stuff we've been talking about on here. So those are my new things I've thought of that have happened in my life. I'm really happy that Olympian, Greg Louganis, I believe he's a gold medalist as well, is doing well in the accident. He's better. I don't know what to make of my deja vu. Sometimes it seems so clear, and it's like something strange happens in my mind, and I'll never see that white sweater again. But I don't know, has anybody else ever had something where you like knew exactly where it was and it was just gone and you could never find it again? I just wonder what your thoughts are. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate any comments. Thanks.